Service is a central theme in the Holy Scriptures, permeating from the Old to the New Testament. In the Bible, we find numerous examples of leaders, prophets, and even Jesus Christ himself demonstrating the importance of selfless service. In the Old Testament, we see examples of figures such as Moses, who dedicated his life to guiding the people of Israel through the desert, and King David, who despite his flaws, was described as a man after God's own heart due to his disposition to serve the Lord and his people. However, it is in the New Testament that we find the supreme example of service in Jesus Christ. In several passages, he teaches and demonstrates that the greatest among us is the one who serves. In Mark 10 verse 45, Jesus declares, "For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." This verse encapsulates the essence of Christian service, following the example of Jesus, who humbled himself to serve humanity, culminating in his sacrifice on the cross. During the Last Supper, a moment of profound meaning and intimacy between Jesus and his disciples, an extraordinary event occurs that vividly illustrates the principle of service and humility. While the disciples were gathered around the table, Jesus gets up, takes off his clothes, and, wearing a towel, begins to wash the feet of his followers. This gesture, in its simplicity and depth, echoes through the centuries as a powerful symbol of love and selfless service. At that time, washing feet was a task reserved for slaves or servants lower in the social hierarchy. By taking this action, Jesus breaks social barriers and demonstrates that true power and leadership are rooted in humble service. Imagine the scene: the disciples, surprised and perhaps even disconcerted, watch their master and Lord humble himself before them, carrying out a task that would normally be beneath his dignity. Pedro initially resists, unable to accept that his master is demeaning himself in this way. Yet Jesus responds with words that resonate beyond that specific moment: "If I, being the Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet." John 13 verse 14. In this act of humility and service, Jesus not only teaches his disciples a practical lesson, but also establishes a completely different leadership paradigm. He shows that the true leader is not the one who exercises dominance or seeks his own greatness, but the one who places himself in the lowest position, ready to serve and sacrifice himself for others. By washing the feet of his disciples, Jesus exemplifies the essence of his earthly ministry: love, compassion, and selfless service. He reveals that in the economy of God's kingdom, greatness is not measured by titles, power, or status, but by the willingness to humble oneself and serve others. Therefore, this episode at the Last Supper is not just a historical account, but a powerful message for all followers of Jesus in all ages. He reminds us that just as he served, we should also be willing to serve one another with humility and love, following his example and imitating his life of service. Paul, one of the most prominent apostles in the New Testament, also emphasizes the importance of service in his epistles. In Galatians 5 verse 13, he exhorts believers to serve one another through love, and in Philippians 2 verses 3 to 4, he encourages them to regard others as better than themselves, following the example of Jesus. In short, the Bible teaches us that service is not just an activity we perform, but an attitude of heart. By following Jesus' example and seeking to serve others with love and humility, we demonstrate the essence of the gospel and live according to the principles of the kingdom of God. If you like the content and want to help us continue, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment or suggestion about a book, film, series, anime that you want to see analyzed on the channel.